Now today, it's time. The last video of the year is me finally doing good on my promise and ranking all the characters in Genshin Impact minus Yunjin and Shunha because they're not in this tier list for reasons unknown. I literally just grabbed a Genshin Impact tier list and the moment I saw like Lynette Linnea, I was like, I may have gotten the wrong tier list. But whatever, it's fine. Aether. Now Aether here I'm going to be considering as the Traveler. Now the thing is, right, the Traveler is someone that still has most of his power like capped off. A lot of the things that we see that he's able to do in the opening act, like when he actually tried to fight God for some reason. So we're going to put him at really low, really high A's. Now the reason for this is that one, he only has access to 3 abilities. Actually no. He did go toe-to-toe with, you know, Beelzebul, which is, you know, she doesn't have access to her full capabilities as a god because obviously the Gnosis wasn't with her at the moment. So technically we never really got to see what an Archon can do with the Gnosis because one, Venti never used it like as much as we know, like on screen, and then we don't have Zhongli. So I'm going to put Aether on low S, like really low S, because he's weaker than the Archons currently. Like even if he did overpower Beelzebul, it's just that he was able to manifest the elements from the visions that are in close proximity, but I don't actually think he's stronger than her. He did defeat her, but I don't think that's too indicative, but I would say they're equals at the very least. Albedo. Now the thing is with Albedo is he has several things going for him. One is that he is a synthetic human being, which means that the prospect of immortality is also part of his kit. It's technically not confirmed if he is immortal, but the longevity of life is definitely something that puts him on edge over other human beings. Now the thing is, Albedo himself is also pretty strong, plus his alchemy is really scary. He's able to conjure actual life from something, and he does have knowledge of other worlds. I want to put him at high A because he is the captain of the investigation team, he is capable of actually creating life, and he is non-human, which puts him at a very high standard. So I'm gonna put him at A, lower than the Archons and, you know, the actual gods. So we're gonna put him at A. Next is Amber. Now Amber is actually really strong in terms of just in contrast to what she's seen in the game, which is really fascinating to me. I'm gonna put Amber at low A. Now when I say low A, it's because she is designed to fight. She does know how to fight and she is trained to fight because she is an outrider. She does have formal training in a way, and she does answer to, you know, an organization among stuff that is known to be very important. So I'm gonna put her at low A. Also, she was able to fend off against an entity that was empowered basically by a delusion. So, you know, Ayaka. Now with Ayaka, it's really fascinating to me because Ayaka as a character is actually one of the stronger units, and she does have formal swordsman training, but she does have a really high position. So I'm gonna put her at high A just for that, because one, she's an important figure in Inuzuma's she's an important figure in Inuzuma's politics first and foremost, and she also has a lot of, well, she does have formal training as, you know, as a noble of Inazuma. So I'm gonna put her at high A. I'll put her next to Amber because I don't actually know what her full lore capabilities are. Now the thing is with Baiji, we have no idea what he's going to be like. So we're gonna put him at D just for don't really know. With Baiji, he's trying to extend his own mortality, but that doesn't mean that he actually is able to already grab it, so that's fascinating. But we're just going to have to, like, we don't even know what Dendro does, so, you know, it is what it is. Barbara for me is a solid C just because one, she doesn't really want to fight. Like, she isn't like Jean, Kaio, and Lisa that are catered to fight and were taught to fight professionally. She is able to fight, but for me personally, I think she would be put at a C. Her position as Deaconess is also very important to consider, but just in terms of absolute power, I'd say that she is one of the more mundane characters in my opinion. just because like she's not like Rosaria that was brought up from a very difficult household, but she did try to learn to fight because she wanted to surpass Jean, which honestly is a very noble thing to do in a way, because you know she does have her own motivations. I put her at really high C. No, I'll put her at low B in my I would say. Beidou will be put at high A. Beidou is one of the entities that I think definitely deserves to be known as one of the strongest people in all of Teyvat. One is that she fought Haishan without a vision and just her raw strength. Another is her tactical prowess as a captain, but she does also have Ningguang as one of her formal connections, and not to mention she's really fucking strong because she uses a claymore. So you know, that's scary. So we're gonna put her at high A. Bennett. Now, Bennett is actually two things that I want to consider. First is that we did get a really cool cutscene in 2.3 that showcased his power against a fake Albedo, and we do know that he is part of an adventurers team, which was, you know, which would mean that he has formal experience on the field. So I would say that he's actually a pretty high A because of his bad luck. Now a lot of people are going to say, but his bad luck is gonna kill someone. The mere concept of his bad luck being so cosmic is just so big to me that I feel like Bennett's character is strangely really strong, but in the worst way possible. The reason I'm going to be putting him at A is just because of his bad luck, because this is an entity. Whatever Bennett is an entity that is cosmic in my opinion. So I'm gonna put him at A just because I'm afraid for him, because he is wielding power that he does not understand. Chong Yin is from a line of exorcists, and Chong Yin is, you know, relatively very strong because he holds a claymore. Exorcism is a very important part of Liyuan culture. The mere aspect of ghosts is very popular in this circle of death and life, is something that Hu Tao also emphasized as very important. Chong Yin also does have formal training. He trains every day, he trains every night. You blink once and he's probably training outside in the rain, in the snow, probably drowning, he's still training. Not to mention that, personally for me, I think Chong Yin is really strong in terms of mortal standards. Chong Yin I think is a high B and a low A in my opinion. He's just a citizen, so he doesn't really have a lot of political power, but at the same time he is from a family of exorcists, and he does have really powerful yang energy. If he can somehow put that yang energy into combat, that would be really fantastic. Sino is a character that we have no idea about, but what we do know is that Sino is someone that has access to purifying and exorcising Archon magic, which is really scary and something that we've never seen before actually in the game when it comes to Archon magic specifically. In the manga, we do see that he was able to purify the Archon residue, and we do know that he's a student of Sumeru, which means that he's probably on the same caliber as Lisa. Not really as like on par, but he does, like, he's probably somewhat a little lower than Lisa, so I'm not going to be sure where he will lie. I feel like he is canonically really strong. Like, all the Sumeru Academia characters are relatively intelligent and really good at what they do. Dainsleif is an entity that we don't know anything about, and he is bestowed upon with immortality, so that much we know. And we also saw his combat prowess. He was able to grab the Abyss Herald, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm gonna put him at high A because definitely I feel like because he's a divine entity and he is from Conria, and he was known as, you know, from the royal vanguard of, you know, the dynasty itself, he's probably trained to actually protect the king and queen of the dynasty. So, you know, put him up there. Diluc is pretty strong in lore, no cap. Diluc's pretty strong. One is that he was able to use a delusion without repercussion, which is something that not a lot of people can do in Azuma Archon Quest, and not a lot of people have suffered from the effects of the delusions, which is fascinating to me. Diluc is known as the Dark Knight hero and was the cavalry captain of the Knights of Avonius, meaning that he probably does have some semblance of power somewhere there. Kappa. He is relatively strong, so I'm gonna put him on, like, next to Beidou. I definitely would put him next to Beidou just because he's a child prodigy as well. Diona, in my opinion, is a low B. One is because she's a child. That means that her own experiences when it comes to, you know, when it comes to actual battle is relatively low. But another thing that I do want to point out is that Leona is a hunter. So I'm gonna put her at high B. You know, she's a hunter, but she isn't that big on like society, besides the fact that she is, you know, part of the wine industry that she's trying to sabotage, just because for her age, and not to mention from her own inexperience besides you know, informal actual training. I would say that she's a high B, definitely higher than Barbara. Dottore is an entity that I feel like is not as strong as people make it out to be, but rather his intelligence and his own machinations are very, very fucking scary to handle. So I'm gonna put him at don't really know, but we can see that Dottore is less of a combat-oriented person and probably just lets other entities, you know, fight for him. Another fascinating part though of his own intelligence is he's probably the one that manipulated the Kunikuzushi, which is something that technically was sealed by Archon magic. That means that whatever Dottore is capable of doing, he's capable of bypassing the seals and enhancing the Kunikuzushi, which means that he has access to technology that most, if not all of Teyvat does not have. So, you know, kind of scary. We haven't seen him in the game, but, you know, just something. Fischl. I'll be putting Fischl at low B. I won't say that she's innately weaker than Bennett for several reasons. One, I do genuinely think that Fischl is strong because one, she's a vision wielder, obviously, but the problem is that unlike Bennett, who has, you know, the godforsaken bad luck cosmic drive, she doesn't necessarily have anything besides, you know, her bird, and we don't really know how visions work. I would say that because Oz is a sentient entity, I still wouldn't put that as something that's really, really strong. And she's part of the investigation crew, and that means that she's probably not on the field as much often when it comes to like direct contact and direct combat as well. But in my opinion, Fischl is strong because she is part of the reconnaissance team, and she is relatively smart, and she's very, very, very powerful in, you know, in-game. I won't be talking about the Honkai counterpart to her because I have no idea how Honkai works in the first place, but for me personally, Fischl is just, you know, she's a regular vision wielder. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, honestly. As like, she still has like one of the most broken kits in the entire. Unfortunately, she's not from another world. If she was, I'd be putting her at A. Ganyu, in my opinion, is relatively strong. Like, a lot of people tend to not see Ganyu as like a strong character, but she's been through shit. You know what I mean? She's been through crap. And the thing is with Ganyu, a lot of people just see her as like this meek entity, and yes, she is taking training from Zhao, which is a battle-hardened veteran, and the fact is that Zhao also respects her battle prowess means something. I'll be putting her at A just because one, she's an adepti, meaning that she has the power of longevity and, you know, long life, and two is that since she is taking formal training from the adepti, I'll be putting her at high A. Janssen is a character that we don't know, but hopefully she isn't a claimer user. I hope she fits, you know, she fights with her fists. That'd be cool. Jean, the Dandelionite, is actually relatively strong. I would say that she's actually on par with Dealer. While she is a healer by all standards, which, you know, is also a very, very valuable asset to, you know, this team, Jean is also well-versed when it comes to Favonian blade work, and she did take inspiration from Vanessa, which was one of the strongest warriors in all of the Knights of Favonius. Jean does have a lot of formal training because one, she's a Grandmaster and she was under Grandmaster Varka's care. So, yeah, she's strong. Boom. By extension, Kaio will also be put up here. One is because I don't know about Kaio's history, but second is that we do know that he's a descendant from Conry and he's really, really sus. But in terms of just like in lore, Kaio is really strong. If you read the manga, Kaio was able to go on par toe-to-toe with Kule, but he did want to just trick Amber and show her that the person that you're trying to save isn't a good person. But you know, he got, you know, ass handed to him, but you know, intentionally. It is what it is. Kaia is a cavalry captain and is on par with Albedo and Hila, which means that he's strong. He's really strong. Or at least by Favonian standards, and by human standards, I might add. Kaia would be a solid A. Keqing is also on the same level, I would say, as the Knights of Favonius, because, you know, she's the Liyue Yuheng. So Keqing having that potential political power is very integral to just how strong, quote-unquote, her character can be. So I'm gonna put her at high A. Klee, is an interesting character, but Klee will be put at high A along with Jean. Klee is one of the strongest knights in the entirety of the Knights of Favonius, and she does have the luxury of being an elf. The ears are kind of, you know, a dead giveaway for the elf thing. Not to mention her mother, Alice, has been hinted to have lived very, very long. So for me personally, I think Klee also has that kind of luxury. And, you know, Klee is just canonically strong, okay? She can blow up and level mountains. Just don't worry about it. No questions asked. La Senora is a low S. La Senora is a low S. Out of all of the characters that I'm about to put in S tier, La Senora is going to be the lowest because I'm about to put Tartaglia in the highest of A's. La Senora is one, she has the luxury of longevity of life, you know, just like the other people that are classified under the high A's. So Rosalind has lived for 500 years, plus she's older than Kunikuzushi and Ajax, and Dottore, I'm going to be eschewing that. But La Senora was also no longer human. Like, she does have a human body, but most of her body is altered by pyromancy. It's also fascinating that the illusion that she uses isn't meant to enhance her power, but rather to suppress the pyromancy inside of her already, which means that she was probably altered by the abyssal approximation. Just like being close to the abyss can have like fuck you to your mental state, Ajax. For La Senora, it's probably what gave her the monstrous body, the really tall, hot fire lady form that she has. Being in close proximity to the monsters probably was what did that to her. On a side note though, she was also part of the Sumer Academia, which means she does have the greatest of intelligences to, you know, back up why she was there. And, you know, she did study pyromancy, and you can see just how strong her pyromancy truly is. Lisa is one of the strongest mages in the entirety of the game. No questions goddamn asked. But the thing is with her life is probably cut in half, so, you know, I hope that she finds a form of eternal something. You know, maybe Baiji can teach her some stuff, because she's gonna die soon, and I'm not ready for that. She is one of the strongest mages in the entirety of the game. She graduated after 2 years. Like, not even in real life you can do that in college, but maybe you can, I'm not sure. She deserves to be at really, really high A. I would say she's higher than Albedo, and not Dainsleif though. I would put Albedo lower than them. She's strong. She's lazy now, but like, she's strong. Just don't cross her. Just be afraid. The Abyss Traveler is really high on the list. Like, the Abyss sibling, Lumine, is really high on the list. First and foremost, it's safe to assume that she already has all the elements unlocked. One is because she did say that she went through the world once, and then that's probably where she started seeing the statues of the seven, meaning that if she also had the same journey as Aether, which is, you know, implied that that's also the same thing, she has already collected all of the 7 Pokemon and, you know, ascended to godhood. But another one is that she has amplifications to her own abilities thanks to the Abyss, as we've seen how she deleted Dainsleif's concentration against the Abyss Herald. So, you know, Abyss sibling, kind of fucking scary. Now that she has access to abyssal energy, which is canonically able to corrupt even Archon magic, you can definitely say that right now she is stronger than the current Archons because of the fact that she does have abyssal magic on her arsenal. Lynette and Lene will not be put on this list because I have absolutely no idea what they do. Mona is an interesting character for me, but I personally think she's as strong as, she's as strong as a Knight of Favonius. One is that divination magic is so powerful, in my opinion, that it was able to, you know, was able to save the Traveler from whatever was going to happen in 1.1. But another one is that the world of Teyvat revolves around constellations. Having divination magic and prediction magic, in all honesty, in a world of fate and in a world of predetermination, her divination magic definitely puts an edge and definitely a layer of uniqueness that not a lot of the characters have. Ningguang is also definitely really strong. I would say that she's kind of weaker, like in terms of just actual raw combat. She's weaker than Keqing, who does train with her blade because, you know, she's a merchant. She's a political figure. She's someone that relies more on her wits and her charisma in order to solve problems. But that does not mean whatsoever that Ningguang is weak. Ningguang is definitely one of the more politically strong entities in the entirety of Teyvat. Ningguang came from rags and she became rich as fuck. Noelle is also really strong. Noelle is someone like Chong Yin that has independent training, and another one is that she is one of the stronger individuals in the entirety of Teyvat, or rather Mondstadt at least. She is known to break accidentally boxes and stuff like that, and she does use a claymore, meaning that her own canonical strength is fucking scary. So, you know, I would say that she's on par with Chong Yin and Bennett. In my opinion, I feel like I should put Chong Yin and Noelle at a like high B, just because like one, they are just, you know, regular humans, but that don't really have any kind of actual position. Besides, you know, Noelle is an aspiring Knight of Favonius. I would just put her at like low B. There's no real bearing when it comes to the tier list. Obviously, it's just for fun, but I feel like I'm putting too many people at A. Paimon is an entity that I know absolutely nothing about, so smiley face. Pulcinella is also an entity that I know nothing about, but since he is the 5th Harbinger, they are the 5th Harbinger. I don't know if that's a girl or a... 5 is higher than 6. Yes, numbers. Chi-Chi is a zombie, but Chi-Chi does have the magic of longevity. Now, this one I'm going to be a little bit question mark about, because one, she is a zombie. I'd say that she's a relative B tier in my opinion. After, like, she is, you know, first, she's a child, and 2 is that she does have some form of restrictions in just how much she can move. I'm not sure if that's true, but her body is rather fragile, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure if it was Baiji that said that, but Chi-Chi's body is, you know, relatively fragile because she is just teetering off of death. I'm gonna put her at low B. He doesn't have formal training, but imagine being raised by wolves, you know? Imagine being raised by wolves. We're gonna put him at low B, high B rather. I would say he's on par with Chong Yin. If he got like proper training from Lisa, you know, Lisa did have to teach him how to harness the vision. If he got additional training, I'd say with D-Look and stuff like that, and if he did start becoming a Knight of Favonius thanks to all the connections that he unwillingly has. Scara will be put higher than Senora for several reasons. One is that according to Yaimiko, he's stronger than La Senora. And I don't know if that's completely accurate, but we do know now that he has the Gnosis. And we also do know that he is a puppet, meaning that I don't know if his body is just innately resistant to a lot of things. The Raiden Shogun definitely didn't seem all too resistant, but we can't really know because A fought us and not the Raiden Shogun. We do know that whatever he is now is immensely powered by both a delusion and a gnosis, and probably a vision additionally. But we do know that whatever he is not human, he's probably at the same caliber of a god, and we're probably going to have to kill him. Sucrose is on the same caliber as someone like Fischl, Chong Yin, and Razor. She's lower, I would say, in terms of just actual power, and she is just a lab assistant. But in my opinion, Sucrose's intelligence really does carry her, and even she does say that she doesn't really use the vision a lot because she's not a combat-oriented person, in my opinion. But just in terms of status, she doesn't really have that much, but in terms of just her own, and not to mention that her actual study is not really catered to combat. It's more of, if I'm not mistaken, she's trying to look for a sweet flower because she wants to go to a paradise, and she believes that she can create her own paradise by the use of bioalchemy. And honestly, that's really sad. And you know what, Sucrose, just stay in B tier, just live your life, get away from all of these people up there that have their own problems. Like, look at the Knights of Favonius, look at the Leo Hechising, look at the Fatui Harbingers. Just mind your own business, Sucrose, just live life. Tartaglia is going to be put at really high A. Now, the reason I'm not putting Tartaglia at S is because for what we know now, he is a regular human. He was a regular human. But what we do know is that he does have Potential dead flags, Kappa. But what we do know is that Ajax has ties to the Abyss because of his, you know, of his training with Skirk, which is fascinating to me. He does also have a lot of formal capabilities, but we don't know that since he's the lowest Harbinger, the respect that he garners is probably just amongst the Harbingers and other political figures. Not to mention he's a known criminal right now, so, you know, question mark. But for me personally, I think he's on the same level at the moment as Dainsleif. Definitely not to the extent of the Kunikuzushi and Rosalind, because those entities have hundreds of years above whatever Ajax can do. Like, Ajax is strong, Ajax is really strong, but he's definitely not on the same level as the other Harbingers that we know right now. I wouldn't cross this man though. This man's like a foul legacy. He has a delusion and he has the goddamn, you know, he has the goddamn vision. So, you know, triple power. That's mortifying. Venti is definitely up there. Venti is known as the weakest god because according to him, you know, as reliable as Venti is as a source, you don't really want to trust him. Venti is quote-unquote the weakest god, and the way that you say the word weakest god tends to have a lot of implications. Now, a lot of people are going to say, but La Senora beat him. Venti is not someone that is confrontational, so we never really got to see a lot of its power in terms of the media that we know. We know that when he didn't actively fight Ursa Drake, he just made it go away, shoo shoo. And we know that he didn't actively fight Senora, he just kind of stood there, dropped some sick beats, get kicked, and got, you know, dropped like a sick beat. But Barbados himself is a war god. He did, you know, yeetus deletus Pylos Peak, and he did have a hand in terraforming the Golden Arc Archipelago. You know, Venti is a drunken bastard, but Barbados is a god. And it's possible that he also, you know, yeetus deletus Conria. But it's only fair that he's up there because he's one of the 7, he's really strong. There are a lot of canonical terraforming that, you know, Venti did in the past. He did fight Durin, he did fight Ursa technically. Xiangling will be divided into 2 entities, but I'm going to be considering Xiangling as just Xiangling. And a lot of people are going to say that shouldn't she be higher because she has Goba. Goba himself is not as strong as he used to be, and I wouldn't even say that he has the same caliber as like a god that is, you know, he did lose power. That's what it was said. He was a god, but I would say that he's not as strong as he used to be. Unless we get a fully fledged big Goba as like one of the things, I don't think that he's in the same caliber anymore as what he used to be in the Archon War. I'm gonna be putting Xiangling at mid-B. She's just chilling life. She doesn't need to be strong. She's just chilling. She's just there trying to, you know, create some stuff. No problem, no questions asked. Zhao's kind of screwed over by the, you know, the karma. Like, he's strong. He's really, really, really powerful. But in my opinion, he's heavily nerfed by, in lore, of course, by, you know, the karma, which, understandable, have a great day. I'm gonna be putting him at really, really high A. Like, I would say he's leagues above. He's leagues above Tartaglia. Actually, I wouldn't know. Why don't you just put these 2 like in a ring, in a boxing ring, and just like and like start fighting? Actually, you know what? We'll put it next to Aether. Zhao is definitely next to the Traveler because he was forged in war. He was meant to, you know, slaughter, and I do genuinely think that having thousands of years under your belt would improve your magic severely. Xingqiu. Now, for me, Xingqiu is also a high A, low A a little bit, because one is... Actually, no. This man can sword swallow. He's next to Ayaka. He's in a politically really good position, and he is taking formal training. He does have his own dojo, and he's a child prodigy. What more can I say? He knows how to sword swallow. I think like, out of everything that I know about Xingqiu, that's like one of the things that stuck with me for reasons unknown. Xinyan's is trying to live life. Xinyan's is trying to be happy. Don't worry about it. Xinyan just likes her rock and roll. She's not openly confrontational. She can fight when she needs to fight. But she's just chilling, you know? Like, she doesn't have to be completely strong. She's just chilling. Let her chill. I have no idea what Yaya can do. You know, I added a D and a C tier, but There's no one down here. This video is just an excuse for me to see just how much I know about these characters. No cap, don't take this as anything seriously. Zhongli's up there. Like, there's just no, nothing. Zhongli's up there. Zhongli's up there. We'll start with Eula. Eula would be a high A because one, she is a Knight of Avonius Reconnaissance team captain, and she is really strong with the Claymore. Let's just, like, you know, don't mind that. But Eula will be a high A. For me, Kazuha is also a low B. Kazuha is just chillin', you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people are going to say that, oh, he was able to, like, withstand the Archons, like Musou no Hitatachi. But in my opinion, having consistent power is not the same as having just one big burst of energy, especially since he was being helped at the time by another person's vision, a person that I will not be considering as part of his power set because he did abandon the vision. So I would say he's just chilling. He's just like a low A, high B. Just like, you know, he does have formal training because the Kadohara clan used to be a clan of samurais. So I would say he's a low A. He's a low A. He's of the same caliber as Xingqiu. At the moment though, he's chilling. Just let him chill, honestly. Yoimiya is also chillin'. I would say she's at the same caliber as Hu Tao. Hu Tao, on the other hand, I would say is a B tier. Sayu and probably Chi-Chi. Probably Chi-Chi and Sayu will be the first ever C tiers for this list. Raiden Shogun, by extension A, Beelzebul, will be a solid S because, you know, she's an Archon, God forbid. I'm also going to probably put Kujosara and Sangonomiya Kokumi as high A. For Kokumi, I would say that she's at the same caliber as probably Mona or Ningguang in my opinion, because she's just a political fighter and she's someone that likes to deal in the background of certain fights. But at the same time, she is a war commander rather. So I might put her on par with Kujosara. She does relegate respect from her peers, and she is a known strategist, so that's also one of the more important aspects of her character that I think need to be considered here. Ito will be put at high B next to Noelle. In my opinion, Ito is strong. Ito is really strong. He's from a clan of Oni, which means that he's probably not human, and he's probably one of the bigger entities that I think would be classified as mortally strange. But in my opinion, the lack of his vision and the fact that he still wanted to go through it does mean that he's a very strong character. I would say that he's A, actually. I would say that he's A. I'll give him A. A for Arataki Ito. Goru will also be put at high A because Goru is a war general, while the Fluffy Tails is definitely a get dead giveaway. The war general is definitely capable of fighting. Thoma is a B tier. Thoma is just someone that works in the background. Thoma is just someone that likes to work for the Kamisato clan, and he's a housekeeper, which means that he doesn't really have his biggest share of combat, you know, unlike Goru and Arataki Ito that actively, you know, have to fight on a field. I would say that he is a solid B tier. He uses his charisma, not his vision. But yes, the reason I wanted to make this video is I wanted to put into perspective just how strong these characters really are in the actual grasp of Tevat's lore building. Tevat has made it clear that vision wielders are special, and in my opinion, this tier list was just me talking to you about how different these characters really are from the NPCs that we see on a day-to-day basis. We are constantly exposed to a lot of vision wielders because we as a traveler are actively looking for them, and we play them. But we need to understand that vision wielders have a reason to be special. Why a lot of the people in high rankings are vision wielders. It's because they are innately so much more powerful and so much more capable than the human beings that we know. And for me, this video was just to show that perspective. Now, putting them against one another is definitely a really difficult feat. That's why I'm saying this right now. Do not take this video as anything seriously. It's just me wanting to ramble on and on and on about just how much I really love these characters. And in my opinion, one of Genshin's strongest storytelling is from its characters, because one, it's a gacha game, and two is that these are the characters that we actively, you know, are compelled to root for or root against. I hope that in the future, with more story quests to come, we are going to see more of the characters fleshed out and their personality and their strength. You know, it's really cool to see an active, you know, fight from the Liyue characters. For me personally, I wish that they updated the manga, but anyway, thank you so much for watching. This is a really long video, and I hope that all of you have an amazing 2022. And yeah, this was just me chilling. Honestly, this was just me chilling. Don't worry about it. I'll see you all next time.